try and do is give you a flavour of some things that we see in the equipment distribution industry, and some things that we might be able to help you with, and a vision for what the future might be like. My name's Simon Khan. I'm from a company called Tectura, and I'll talk a little bit about Tectura in the next few minutes. And also joining me is Greg Simmons, and he is from a company called Dysel, and the relationship between Dysel and Tectura will become clear as we go through the presentation. And Greg's actually going to show us some of the Dysel equipment lifecycle product today, just a very brief snapshot as well. So I'll get underway. I should have control, so the slides might take a little while to refresh. You can both hear me, I understand, so that's good. If you want to, there's not many of us on. Sometimes I say if we've got a lot of people on, just to mute your mics so we cut out any background noise. But at the end we'll have an open session for questions, probably about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for questions, and then by all means turn your mics on at the end and ask questions. And if you have any issues and you're not hearing us, you can always send us a message as well. Okay. There's a little message facility on that little control bar at the top right of your screen. Okay. So on to the next slide. Okay, so as I said, I'll give you a brief introduction. I'll explain who Tectura are, exactly what we do, and the relationship with Dysel, and we'll take it from there. So, but first up, I wanted to hit on the topic of the whole webinar today, which is reducing costs in the equipment distribution supply chain. There are many areas that you could look at potentially, but I've kind of condensed it down into 5 key areas that we see and we come across commonly, actually not only in the distribution supply chain but in other industries as well. And I condensed that down into 5 points, and we'll sort of touch on those as we go through the presentation today. Obviously, number 1 up there is you have an equipment inventory, and it's not unique to your industry either, but your management of your inventory, if you're carrying too much, it's costing you money, and if you don't have enough, it's potentially costing you money as well. So getting control over that is a key area. Manual processes. I guess there's the less of those you can have, the better. Some of those are unavoidable, but I guess if I ask for a show of hands, I know that a lot of people would say that they do a lot of things. They have an ERP system, but they do a lot of things outside of that, and a lot of manual processes as well, for whatever reason. Multiple systems. If you can consolidate your systems, ideally, if you only had one system and one source of the truth, you'd probably be a lot better off. Duplicate entry between multiple systems takes a lot of time. It's error prone, as you know, especially if you've got customer information sitting in different databases across different systems that aren't talking to each other. EDI, it's interesting because I've been in the IT industry for probably about 25 years, something like that, maybe a bit more. And EDI, electronic data interchange, has been around for a long, long time, but still quite surprising how many companies don't have EDI with their suppliers, and there's a manual order process going on, and a manual receiving, and a manual re-entering the invoice that they send you, whereas EDI can really kind of streamline that. And in the age of the internet, customer self-service is one of the key ways that you can cut down on your costs and improve efficiencies. And the very last point, I guess, is kind of goes back to point 3. If you've got your systems consolidated, then it's a lot easier to get a good picture of what's going on in your business and where the costs are. Be able to analyse that data. Again, if you've got disparate systems, it's quite hard to do that, and often that's the problem. You don't know where, you're not seeing what's actually happening in your business. You're not able to predict trends, so you don't know what your demand is, so you don't know how much you need to have in inventory. So anyway, that's kind of some of those things may resonate with you, some of them may not be new to you, or some of them may be completely new. But as we go through, Greg will sort of talk about that in a bit more detail when we show you the Dysel product. So Tectura, who are we? Just wait for the next slide to refresh.
No, do you want me to do it?
Yeah, do you want to advance to the next slide? It's not.
There we go.
There we go, it's coming up. Okay. So Tectura, essentially, we're a professional services company, and we implement ERP, enterprise resource planning solutions across about 5 different broad industries. One of those being equipment distributors, also the services industry, manufacturing, distribution, retailer, and we do a certain amount of work in the life sciences industry. We have 2 ERP solutions. They're both developed by Microsoft. One of those is Microsoft NAV, the other one is Microsoft AX. So the product we're talking about today is Microsoft NAV, and we'll sort of allude as to where that fits with Dysel. We're kind of concentrated in the South Asia region, which is where we work, but we do have strategic partners in other parts of the world. We've got about 5,000 customers and about 750 team members. So where we are locally in Australia, we have offices in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and recently we've opened an office in Perth. 60 staff. We're a Microsoft, I mentioned, we're a Microsoft partner, actually not only for ERP but for customer relationship management as well. And we're at the highest level, which is Microsoft have Gold and Silver partners. We're a Gold partner. And what that means is there's a lot of criteria around that. It's to do with the number of customers we have, the satisfaction of those customers, and the certifications that our staff have to hold in the Microsoft products. So we've got about 120 plus customers. I'd say it's probably more like 140 customers in Australia currently. Next. Just a bit of a snapshot. Mixture of organisations there across industries, from manufacturing to retail. Tiger Airways is a recent new customer of ours. And give you a bit of a snapshot of some of our major NAV customers. So NAV is the Microsoft Dynamics ERP solution. 3 of those in particular there are in the equipment industry. TRS, Position Partners, and Southern States are all in the equipment industry, and they all use the Dysel Equipment Lifecycles product, which is an integrated part of the NAV ERP solution. Position Partners are actually a new customer, and they actually provide control equipment to the construction industry, so the control units that fit onto the likes of the earth-moving equipment, and they're rolling out the Dysel solution as we speak. So just to put Microsoft Dynamics NAV in perspective, it's Microsoft's most successful ERP solution, about 102,000 customers globally. So number one in their product suite, product family, and I think overwhelmingly the feedback that we get about it is ease of use. Already then the Dynamics product's very easy to use. Of course, it's integrated with the other Microsoft products as well, and there's obviously a huge amount of continued R&D into the product. So if you implement it today, it's still going to be around tomorrow and well into the future. So they actually publish roadmaps well out into the future, in fact out into 2017 currently. Okay.
Right.
So that's all I wanted to cover at this point in time. So the product we're talking about today is Microsoft Dynamics NAV, and the equipment-specific industry solution being the Dysel Equipment Lifecycle product. And Greg's going to tell you a bit more about that.
Okay.
Over to you.
Right. Hello, everybody. I think most of the people we got on are in WA. Is that right?
I think three.
Yeah,
3 out of the
three.
4, I think.
Yeah, because that's where I'm speaking to you from at the moment. Over here doing another customer. That'll be on that list soon. Just a little bit about Dysel. We've been around quite a while. Our headquarters are in the Netherlands. We've got offices in Germany, the US, and I'm based out of Auckland. And all we do is a single industry vertical solution. Most of us that work for the business have come out of the equipment industry. I myself have spent 6 years with AB Equipment in New Zealand, Toyota forklifts, excavators, road rollers, pretty much a fairly significant business in New Zealand. And so, as I say, all we do is this product called ELC, and I'll skip through that one because we're short on time. In fact, I'll skip through that one as well. ELC means equipment life cycle, and what that means is most generic systems can't handle the equipment concept of a piece of equipment that you sell, you service, you may rent it, and it needs to stay in your business. The visibility of it needs to stay in your business for life. And so that's why we've developed the solution, because the industry needs to be able to deal with their equipment. And so that piece of equipment in the middle can be anything. It can be a loader, an excavator, a control system on a bit of gear. It can be an elevator in a building. It could be an air conditioning unit. It could be a crane, and I'm giving examples of what's around our customer base. It could be a fire security system. It can be moving, it can be static. It may not have a serial number, but it usually does. And so the equipment life cycle means that that piece of equipment stays in the system throughout its life. And it, even before we purchase it into stock, we may do a pre-delivery inspection. It may get sold or go into a rental fleet. It may come off rent and go into stock as a used unit, get sold again, trade in again, and ultimately scrapped. We even have a status called stolen. And so what it means is that you never lose the item. It doesn't leave your business. As such, you've got visibility of it the entire time. We wrap a lot of things around it. We have a field service solution which runs across multiple platforms. The field service is both in, it's called Everywhere, and we also have an Everywhere CRM, so we have field CRM. We have lots of interfaces to manufacturers. So your manufacturer might send you parts price files, and they send you price catalogs, supersession files, and what we call equipment options, which we'll show you in a minute. We also have customer portals, so that you can actually give your customers access to the system with a tool that Microsoft supply called Web Services. So it enables you to process and publish your customers' information. Okay, we'll come back to that one. I'll show you what the product looks like. So can everyone see that screen okay? You should see ELC Roll Center Service. Now what this is the opening menu that a user would get. And what we do is we divide up menus into roll centers, so we give appropriate information to each individual type of user. So this roll center is service, and so if I'm involved in service, I've got stuff that's relevant to me. I have another roll center open here called Parts Manager, and that enables me to see stuff that's relevant to parts. And being a Microsoft product, I can also see my Outlook and other relative things. I could have RSS feeds or something like that showing on my screen. But either way, I can go into departments and see the entire menu. What we've got on the left here is all the standard nav functionality. So all the financials, the payables and the receivables, all the inventory processing. And on the right hand side here we have all the stuff that Dysel adds, all the equipment centric stuff. So we have a whole equipment module. We have a service module including maintenance contract and planned maintenance. We have a rental module. We have CRM. We have a project module for delivering installs across multiple units, such as refrigeration units into a supermarket. We have parts, and in Europe we have a DHL interface. So just a comment on parts. We have a thing called a catalogue, which means that you can import your manufacturer's entire parts file and it doesn't become part of your master file, but you can call it when you need it. So in a brief view here, I'm going to give you a look at our call center, and I'm going to open up a fictitious customer. And that's showing us, for our customer, all sorts of information. So one of the keys that we were talking about before was visibility. So this customer, we can see, has 3 pieces of equipment. They have 2 open work orders, they have a maintenance contract, and they have no rental contracts. We can see what their balance is as a customer. We can see historical, what documents that we've had. And so, for example, I can go into posted invoices here, and I can see documents that we've previously supplied to this customer. So visibility is with you all the time. If I look at the piece of equipment, and this is a very brief overview that we're doing today, I can see information about the equipment. It belongs to a category group model structure, which is user defined. It has a serial number, license plate number, fleet code. If you like the fleet code number, you'll know where I come from. It's a good number this week. We can also see a planned maintenance structure that may be on the item as well. So last PM date, next PM date, etc. And the posting status is sold, but it can be any one of these things. It could be in rental, could be in stock, could be used. So that's that circle that was going around that truck I had in that diagram. So from the call center, I can actually create a work order for that particular piece of equipment for that customer. And in a work order, I can do multiple things. I can put parts in. I'm just putting in a part number. You'll see that I'm short of 17 of those. Quantity available is minus 17. I'll put quantity of 5 in for this work order. One of the key things about this system is we have a thing called service type, and the service type enables us to use a work order for a multitude of processing. And service types are user defined, and we can set up service types for things like rework, warranty, field service, maintenance, installation jobs. As I say, all of these are user defined, and if we selected something like warranty, then that would automatically create a manufacturer's claim, which is another processing part of the system. But the service type exists on the line, which means I can have a single work order that has some lines that I'm going to invoice a customer, some lines that are going to be charged internally, such as rework, and some lines which are going to generate a warranty claim. So it's an extremely powerful processing part of the system. Now we talk about remove the manual. I've just put a part number in a work order. That's created the demand in the system. And if I go back to my roll center, which was a parts roll center, I can see that I have requisition lines, and I can see for this requisition, for this part, if I just filter for this part, so it should have been a 0, not a decimal point. If I filter for that part, I can see that I need 29 in the system. So I'm wearing my parts manager's hat, and the system's telling me I need 29 of this particular part. I can click up here and go explain, and it's going to tell me all of the documents in the system that are requiring that 29, including the 5 on the work order that I just entered. So visibility in the system, I can also see that my stock keeping unit is requiring 7. So I have a reorder point of 7, plus I have all this demand. So that's where it's working out that I need 29. Now I haven't keyed anything in, it's just simply, this is a system doing it all for you. And I can actually view, remember I'm sitting in the parts manager's office, I can view the documents that are requiring that demand without leaving my screen. When I'm ready to deal with that as a parts manager, I can simply carry an action message, and I've created a purchase order for the 29 without keying anything in. I didn't have to key any part numbers in, it just did it all automatically, recognizing my reorder rules. So one of the other features we have is when we sell a piece of equipment. Let's come back to this roll center. So I create a new document. I'm doing a sales order. I'll look at my customer again. We have quite an extensive credit management system, and this is just popping up that the customer already has a balance of 160,000 and their 50,000 credit limit. So I'm in sales, so I'll just say yes and carry on. And what I'm going to sell is a piece of equipment that doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to sell a model, and the model I'm selling now this model is real. It's a high ab lift, but everything else behind it is made up for demonstration purposes. So what this is I'm selling a particular model to a customer. This could be a quote. In this case, I'm just doing a straight sales order. But set up on that model, I have a number of rules and options. And one of those is a sales configuration template, which says that when I sell this particular piece of equipment, I have a number of factory and dealer options and local things that I do to it, such as an install, such as adding a power takeoff, etc. So I've just called them factory option 1 and 2, but they could be anything. So for a forklift, it could be a side shift. For a dealer option, it could be non-marking tyres and a paint job in fleet colours that you might do, etc. So these are set up per model, and then as you bring them into each individual sale, you can tune them to whatever you want. So for example, I might not want this option 2, so I can just delete it off this line, and when I recalculate the price and release it, it'll change the price back on the order. So I'm actually selling one piece of equipment, but I have a complete configuration behind it that will stay with it for life to say these are the options when I configured and sold this piece of equipment. If I look up the model, I can see the information that I hold for the model, such as warranty period, such as, and the warranty in this case is 12 months, and I've said from installation date, but I could set the warranty period to be from the purchase date, acquisition date, when I sold it, etc. So it's very flexible. You set up the rules on the model, and every time you sell a piece of equipment with that model, it inherits all the rules, including what we call a service actions setup, which could be a planned maintenance structure for doing periodic or hours or kilometre-based planned maintenances or regular inspections. So in the service actions we can set up maintenances, inspections, calibrations. We can even set up special ones that we do at the end of a warranty. So the warranty expires, we have to go and do a special job. We can also set up a priority so that your A, B and C service don't override each other if they occur on the same period. For example, if I'm doing an A service every 3 months and a B service every 6 months, then I don't want to do them both together. The priority would say A, B, etc. So this one's set up for period, but it could be set up for meter readings, etc. So it's very, very powerful what you can do and set up on the model. So just to reiterate, we're just about to run out of time. We have run out of time. So we have got equipment sales, service, rental, and parts, all equipment based. So we'll open up again for any questions and answers that we might have, if anyone's got any.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. If people want to unmute their mics, then we'll field any questions that you might have.
I don't really have any questions. I guess we use Dynamics GP, so that product is very similar to Wensoft and Wensoft's suite of products. Very, very similar. Obviously, the screen's different and so forth, the look and feel, but obviously what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day is pretty much the same thing. But yeah, I guess, from my end, I just wanted to understand what you guys obviously wanted to present and just have a look at it and understand a bit more about Tectura as well. So I guess at this stage, from a product perspective, we're pretty satisfied with Dynamics GP as things currently stand. And Wensoft, but it's always good to know what other products are out in the market.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And Michael, what are you currently using at Force Equipment? Hello?